Hey everybody, and welcome back to my continuing coverage of the 2019 Dallas International Film Festival. I'm Chase Lee, and hey guys, listen, I love doing these film festivals. You never know what you're going to run into. You might run into something that's pretty dang great, and that is the case for this movie. This is the sixth film that I've seen at the festival, and it's called American Factory. And I can now officially say this because they said this at the screening last night. It comes from Netflix, or it will come from Netflix. That is the person that's going to distribute this. If you have a Netflix account. And this one is directed by Steve Bogner and Julia Reichert. And this one tells the story of Chinese CEO chairman Chow, as he is the head of the Fuyao Group. And he's got many companies. We don't really know much about the other companies besides the one that this documentary focuses on. But he has a Fuyao glass type of company. And I'm assuming, it's called Fuyao Glass, China, and then he's got one called Fuyao Glass America, and that's where our story focuses on. So this is set in Ohio, where the GM plant was up there. It unfortunately went out of business, and so a lot of people lost their jobs. I'm talking thousands of people, so thousands of families. Pretty devastating, right? But then this, chairman comes in, starts this company, and hires a lot of the same people back from GM, but it's for less pay, and they kind of have no choice because, unfortunately, we live in a system now where if you go 30 days without paying your bills, it's kind of impossible. So you have a short turnaround to find a job. That's what these people did. They had no choice, and so I definitely empathize with that. And so we kind of focus on, people in America in terms of this company. We focus on people in China that work on this company. We focus on management. We focus on the CEO. We focus on specific people that have a little bit more screen time than others. We have people that work primarily in the glass making, the furnace section, taping and packing. We see the whole gamut of this operation, and it's not even what this documentary is about. This one is about kind of like the workforce, the American workforce, the Chinese workforce, how corporations treat their employees, how a lot of them get screwed over through pay and benefits. And, if you start a union, you can get fired. So there's that fear element that makes you stay there. It is just crazy to witness because a lot of people will just assume that greed and corruption it's just an American thing. It's no, this happens everywhere. It doesn't matter where you come from. There's always going to be some businesses or some CEOs or upper management that take advantage of workers. And this is everywhere. I'm not saying it's every business, but focusing on this business in particular, it does happen to a lot of them. And this film kind of addresses that and really kind of opens up this Pandora's box of this just insanity that is capitalism, corporate America. It's just, it makes you feel ill because people are suffering at the hands of this, and there's really nothing we can do about it unless we all change. But that's what the directors focus on, is that there is no solution to this. They don't ever present a solution. They're never biased. They just literally document what's going on and they present it to us. But even though they don't show us a particular answer to this question, what they do tell us is that we are unified. We are one as people, and we are all going through the same thing. Once again, going back to what I said, that greed and corruption knows no culture, bounds. It's everywhere. It's not just here. It's even in places like China, when you have a CEO and upper management really just being oblivious to what they're doing and just always just thinking about profit and not really thinking about anything else. And that's fine. It's a business. I get that, but you have to do both. You have to take care of your employees, and they will work harder, and that will in turnaround give you more profit. It's very simple. Okay, so I love this documentary for, like I said, a lot of reasons, but it is so hard to unpack because there's a lot going on. And so I set up at the top that this kind of focuses on the kind of corruption, kind of greed angle of this company, which it does. And then it also focuses on specific people and what they're going through. And knowing that people from America and people from China are actually going through the same thing. Now, obviously in America, not to the extreme of like working 12 to 16 hour days and only seeing your family twice a year, but really feeling the weight on their shoulders in terms of working for a company that doesn't treat them fairly. But once again, they're stuck. They can't go anywhere because they have people to provide for. So we see that from both sides. We see people from the American workforce, losing their job. One of them went back to their sister's basement to live in China. We have one person that we focus on. He hasn't seen his family in like 6 months. And then they focus on more workers saying they only see their family twice a year. They don't take any holidays off. They have to work overtime. And it's when you look at that, you're like, wow, that's kind of insane. But they also have a great work ethic. So this documentary kind of spins it in both directions where it's just like, maybe we can kind of combine the two, where we could have the work ethic of like people from China, and then also, the benefits and, medical pay and weekends and nights off like, we do in America. And like, if you combine the two, every business in this entire universe would work so smoothly. But unfortunately, people in the higher up positions take advantage of that, and they just don't care. And so really kind of heartbreaking on both sides. It's once again a very human story that we can all kind of relate to. I'm sure every single one of you out there watching this watching this review, and even this documentary, you've probably been laid off. You've probably had to switch jobs. I got laid off. I was unemployed for 4 months at one point in my life. I had to use all my savings just to pay bills. But you got to do what you got to do, right? And so it's something that we can all see in ourselves. It's something we can all kind of empathize with. And I'm hoping this documentary strikes a chord with people, and maybe if everyone can see the pain and the suffering that these people are going through and really kind of empathize with them, maybe we can stand up and start a movement to change, labor laws and minimum wage and all that stuff. Because it goes back to that too. It's once again, this is a very complex type of situation. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. There is no answer to this, but maybe we can start thinking about one. And yeah, it's just a really interesting look on the American kind of like factory work line. Also China's work line, and how some of them don't even have like proper equipment and just kind of doing stuff with their bare hands and stuff. It's crazy, man. And then towards the end, they start thinking about robotics, and it's just like, you complained about people not working fast enough, and you don't give them a chance, and like you want people from your country to work, but then you replace it with robotics. It's just, what? Like, oh my God. So I think the most fascinating thing was there was an interview clip with the CEO, Chow. He proposed a really great question. Now, I don't fully blame him for treating his workers this way. I do blame a lot of his upper management, and because they're the ones that kind of implement this thing and really kind of push him towards it. And he grew up in the mindset of like, you have to work. And so I don't fully blame him, but he proposes a great question to where he realizes some of the ramifications that he's causing, like people in America starting unions. And so he's sitting there kind of pondering, going, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing for the environment? Am I doing good by the environment? Am I a criminal? Or, if I, a person that gives people jobs, so I thought that was kind of a fascinating spin that they kind of put on that as well. Really not making him seem like he's, the evil guy in this, but like he is definitely responsible. But, I don't look at him and go, wow, what an evil POS. I don't want to, talk to that man again. It's just more of like, you have to like talk to him to kind of like change his mind on things and stuff. But when you have people, really kind of pushing for these really kind of extreme ideas, it just makes it really hard. So Yeah, it is a harrowing, emotional experience. It's inspiring in some ways because when it's done, like I said, you kind of want to stand up and do something about it. So, yeah, the music is great. It's really got this kind of like emotional sweep to it. The cinematography is nice and crisp. It's a really well shot documentary. It's really entertaining. It's informative. It's well edited, well paced. It's just a really great movie in this genre. Definitely the best thing I've seen so far at the festival. Who knows? I still got 5 more left. But I'm going to give American Factory an A. It is that good, and I implore you to check it out whenever it hits Netflix. I might have missed some stuff in this review, but I try to touch upon the main stuff. I didn't even get into some of the people that they focused on. It's a lot to talk about, but primarily everyone's stories within this documentary are relatively the same in terms of what they're going through. So, there wasn't really much to talk about. But yeah, so many ideas explored into this thing. It is a microcosm of bigger problems that are happening. So a very fascinating subject matter indeed. So what do you guys think of American Factory, or have you even heard of it? Comment that place to on my face and let me know. And tune in next time for my continuing coverage of the 2019 Dallas International Film Festival. I will see you guys later.